Can you step inside this doorway and tell me, love, how does the dreamer inside you show her face? They say my words are empty and out of touch, but I know you know the language of this. 'Cause I remember you. Do you remember too?
Good morning to both of you. How are you?
Great.
I'm doing great. Complain.
So today I'm super excited about having both of you on. This is amazing. So let's start off right off the bat with, hey, Tiffany, if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, so I am from Orange County, California, live in Huntington Beach, and a little bit about me in a short story is I had brain surgery for epilepsy a year from next week on Wednesday. It'll be 1 year anniversary. And I had brain surgery last year. And then before even a year comes around, I did Boston Marathon 3 weeks ago. And then 2 weeks after Boston, I did OC half marathon. And each and every day, like I just tell myself, take one day at a time. And I have never been so grateful to be recovered from that big of a brain surgery less than a year advance.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's amazing. And Stefan, Coach Stefan, tell everybody a little bit about you. I'm so grateful that we connected back like 2, 3, 4 months ago. So
we've been on a wonderful roller coaster ride in a good way, but ups and downs of getting everybody together, getting the Facebook page, meeting people like Tiffany and other people out there too. It's just Stacy and other coaches that help people. Tiffany, you're helping people. I see you as a coach in the future, meaning like not only for running and helping other women, but just in general for epilepsy and your inspiration. And that's what I'm here for. And just today, right before we jumped on the meeting, May 9th, 2007, I realized I had brain surgery. I had left temporal lobe awake craniotomy today, 15 years ago, I guess it was, and just goes by fast. We were talking about life. That's what we're here for, though. Wanted to hear more about your surgery, Tiffany, and what you've been through, because this helps other people out there. That Liz and I are doing this for Epileptic. She does a wonderful group for women. And we're just rolling into new groups and new people and new ideas. So we wanted to hear your inspiring story again and how your race went.
Yeah, I mean, from recovering less than a year ago, the way that I ran Boston, I was really happy. And honestly, it's hard to believe because I feel that I could even have ran it faster if I would have started in the elite status in the front of the pack. So I've just been so lucky that I've recovered the way I have recovered post brain surgery. And then I still feel great, even though I ran a marathon and a half in a month period. But I also think it's amazing how the body recovers depending how you take care of it, because I've been so into living a healthy, active lifestyle. And I think a majority of the recovery is because of the way I've lived and eating right, working out, staying mentally strong, because at the end of the day, a lot of it's a mental and positive mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. So bang on. So tell us a little bit more about the Boston Marathon.
So I went into Boston, honestly, with just a goal of finishing, because I said, gosh, I want to say that I did a marathon before post brain surgery 1 year. And so I wanted to do it. And this has been on my list since before even getting into running. I said, gosh, if I could ever qualify running the Boston Marathon, it's on my bucket list. So I did it last year, and makes it even more exciting that I did it less than a year of brain surgery. So I went into it just of a goal to finish, and I felt really, really good. And post marathon, I've been feeling great, sleeping right, eating right. And every day the experience out there, when I was there with my mom and my dad, I've never, ever met so many great elite runners that honestly, the number one thing that I'll remember in Boston is just the atmosphere and the people I was around. Like, I wish I had all those people living around me where I could spend time with them every day, just interacting and training, going out to eat, enjoying time, having fun. Like, that's just the way I would live every day if I could.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to hear about your training. What amazed me is what happened though before the surgery. Did you stop running for a certain time period? Did you have a seizure? Were you having a lot of seizures? How good of shape were you in going into surgery, and how long did you not run for after surgery?
So going into surgery, I ran until I actually had surgery that day, and went into the hospital early in the morning, like at 4 a.m. And then my surgery was at 7. And then as soon as I was in the hospital for about 7-8 days, so obviously no running there. And then I was home, but had stitches in my head 2 weeks post surgery. But knowing me, an active person, I had to at least go walk a mile, jog half a mile, walk half a mile, and I just alternated. So by the time I was home for about 3-4 days, I tested myself running 1 mile with like 6 stitches in my head. And so I just did 1 mile, and then until I got them out, then I went and did like 2.5, 3 miles and just progressed up. Unless I was having headaches, I would just stop, of course. But
Yeah.
for about 13, 14 days post surgery, and about a week after I had the stitches out, I was back to running 3 miles really slow. But hey, 3 miles is 3 miles.
Yeah. And was your head fully shaved too?
No, just part of it.
Okay.
Wow, that's incredible. Like, amazing. I'm just in total awe. And how old you're still, like, how old are you approximately, or what?
I'm 25, almost 26 in less than a month.
Wow. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. So are you going to run
Hopefully
again
this
next year?
inspires so many others out there, right, Liz? We're here to help. And when people see this story, they hear your story, Liz, and my story, and we want to bring people together to say it's not over. When you get diagnosed with epilepsy, when things happen, medication isn't working, seizures. Tiffany, your story is amazing because you kept pushing through it. You've had this all your life. You said since our last interview of, you were 1 year old, right? And dealt with it for years.
Well, and that's the other thing that, like, I was actually just talking to a friend yesterday. A lot of like growing up with epilepsy, having it, and even though I had brain surgery, nothing's guaranteed that it's 100% preventable, like the rest of your life. Most likely, talking to my doctor before Boston, I'll have to stay on meds for quite some time, which is fine. But my point of this is like reaching out to friends and family members that have known that I've had epilepsy my whole life, like the ones that have known for a long period of time, whether it's family or friends, like their support has been so amazing throughout my life, because I think they understand, like, God, if they had epilepsy, how would they want to be supportive, or what support would they want, like getting around, driving, making plans, finding friends, having the support if I had a seizure, like having those people in my life, whether it's great friends, of course, my family, people like you guys, it absolutely helps 100%, because I feel like there's always someone overlooking my back, even if I'm alone, because they're like, hey, how you feeling? Constantly checking in. And for me, I think that friends and family that check in constantly with others is a good definition of a friendship and obviously a family member.
Yeah, so true. I love that. That's it's so important to have that support network around you of people that understand and are there to help and support. I mean, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love hearing all these stories. Look at all our different age groups, right? Just here on the call, and with similar experiences yet different, and in different time frames. Like when I got it, you didn't talk about it. That, I mean, yes, I'm old, but back then you didn't talk about it. And I love the fact that, people are open and talking about, discussing it, sharing their stories, their experiences, because it is, just like Stefan said, it's so helpful to other people to know there is people there and people around and people to support you and to talk about it. And one thing I think a lot of people don't know is that 50 million people in the world have what we have. 50 million. That's not a small number at all. So doing these interviews and hearing your story, I think it's just so inspiring and helpful to others. Like, oh my gosh, Stefan, like.
Yeah, a lot of people that 50 million is a big number. I think that's even more though, because people haven't, they don't realize it when they have petite malls, small malls, and they're just zoning out for a little bit. What's the matter with him or her? And the friends are noticing this and they don't even know they have seizures. And a lot of what we're transitioning from one generation to the next to the others, it's very accepting and understanding now of what's going on, and not something to hide from or run from, but understand that epilepsy is in your life. And then we have to help people understand it's there for a reason. That's what this healthy group is about. Holistic epilepsy awareness for loving, transform, healing, whatever the words are, transforming, healing yourself. And we want to help people like this. And Tiffany is a great example of how to transform your life by, a big thing too is your eating habits, your diet. And when we have those seizures, journaling, maybe somebody is out there that drinks a lot of soda, drinks a lot of alcohol, of course, things that they're doing in their life. And the way I was programmed is just take the medication, keep doing what you're doing, everything's fine. If you have a seizure, take some more medication, try a different medication. It was always more different. It wasn't, what are you eating? Oh, maybe you should sober up. That was a big part. So Tiffany, in your life, I was curious too, have you ever run too hard or pushed yourself too much and had a seizure in the past? Has that ever been an issue with pushing yourself like that?
I actually have been on a run, like a long run, training for like my first marathon, and had a seizure during my run. And I actually just stopped for like 2 minutes, because luckily mine are short periods. So I stopped for a few minutes, just sat down, got up, and I was about 6 miles from home and ran home, and I was totally fine.
Now, was that a petite mall? Were you still awake, or did you actually lose consciousness, get up and go?
No, I was still awake. I just was dizzy and kind of out of it for a second, where I just had to take a seat and calm down for a second, and then I ran home. But mine, I found, mostly came out like when I was lack of sleep, lack of nutrition, or stress, which my stress mainly came for like not getting enough sleep or worrying, like in my part, since I like getting around, is stressing about what is coming in the future or what's planned ahead, and how am I going to achieve that? How am I going to get there in my position? That was where all my stress came from. But it was stress that prevented, like, I'm like, you know what? It's one of those stressful days. I'm going to go out and run, because running for me is like the number one medicine that gets my mind off of everything, friends, family, jobs, everything. And it just resets my whole body. And that's why every day I feel great. And it's hard to take a day off running, because mentally it helps me get through.
Oh my gosh. You know what? This is amazing to hear your story. And I'm so grateful you're sharing this. And we'd love to interview you again, right, in the future.
Yeah,
And
along the way, all your races coming up, and maybe every time that you have another one coming up, we can hear an update. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, and also, like when you guys mentioned of others that have epilepsy, or whether they've had it their whole life or they just got it, the thing is, like, even myself growing up, nobody really knew I had epilepsy besides my family, aunts, uncles, and family relatives, because I was one of those, I really didn't want to tell them, especially friends my age, because there's so many different types of having seizures, epilepsy. Some are obviously worse than others, where mine were never that bad, but I just had them like continuously. So my point is, I didn't really tell like friends unless they were really close friends. But epilepsy is something not to hide, because if you're around those people and you do have a seizure, they're not going to be so scared or call 911. They'll just do whatever you tell them to do if they're aware of how your seizures are. So I do wish I would have kind of shared out with like some friends that I went and hung out with, and they're like, oh, and they had no idea because I wasn't comfortable sharing about my health growing up. And then now, as I got surgery and I tell all these stories and back to training and health, I'm like, gosh, I wish I would have shared, because what if they had epilepsy or they have similar conditions? I want to try and help them. And the only way to help them is to tell them that I've been through it.
That's what your destiny is here, Tiffany. I can see it and feel it. And I just came up with runnerswithepilepsy.com. Maybe you can get that domain or something like that. Something to do with you helping inspire others, and not just runners, but athletes in general. I spoke at a school about 3 years ago to a football team and a high school football team. And it was a wonderful speaking event, blah, blah, blah. The kids are all, yeah, thank you. And then one kid comes over after and starts crying, immediately crying to me. And he goes, please don't tell the coach. Please don't tell him. I just want to let you know I had a seizure. I have epilepsy. And I couldn't believe it, that my story hit home. But he was so shameful, though, shamed of having epilepsy. He wanted to play football so bad. And I inspired him. I don't know really what happened, but I told him to get some help, talk to his parents, and do what he can. I couldn't go against him. And I wanted to say something to him, his parents, but I didn't. I respected his wishes. Hopefully he went the right path. I want you to do the same, Tiffany, is help inspiring runners and people like that to, that have seizures, to come out of the box and talk to you, talk to us, or just get some help on that matter. Okay.
Yeah, this is so
Great.
cool. Well, you guys, thank you so much, Tiffany. Oh my gosh. Like, I'm, again, just so impressed, inspired, and in awe of what you've accomplished. Like, and at such a young age. That's awesome. So I'm going to end the call now, and we'll share all the information about how you can reach out to Tiffany, Stefan, myself. We'll make sure that that's all at the end of this interview. And thanks again, and bye for now.
For to control delete, reset your mind, reset your life.
Out of touch, but I know you know the language of this. 'Cause I remember her. Do you remember her?